Hey there! Today, we're going to cover bottle feeding a breastfed baby. I was speaking with a new mama last night, and she asked if we could talk about bottle feeding a breastfed baby. And you know what? By golly, yes, we can, because it is no easy feat. Sorry, let me just turn my monitor down for the kiddos real quick, because I do these while they nap. Anywho. So, bottle feeding a breastfed baby, it's difficult. If your baby is used to nursing only, sometimes your baby won't take the bottle. A lot of mamas find that they can't even be in the room to give their baby a bottle, meaning that dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, daycare, whatever, has to be the one to give the bottle. Rightfully so, because baby's like, oh, there's mom. She's got the fresh stuff, and I'd much prefer that. So that can be a challenge with breastfed babies. Another challenge is that remember that you, as a mama, only have so many milk ducts, meaning there's only so many spouts that it's coming out of, and it's harder. Babies have to suck harder to get milk to come out. So they have to work a lot harder for milk from you. So a lot of mamas also say things like, once they introduce the bottle, baby doesn't want to nurse. And that is absolutely true. Some babies, because you know what, frankly, we all have our own preferences, right? Some babies much rather have just the bottle because it's faster, it's easier, they don't have to work as hard for it. Other babies prefer mom because they like whatever it happens to be, whether it's the warmth of the milk or maybe it's the warmth of mama, whatever the case is. But at one point or another, we all have to hand over the baby because we got to go grocery shopping or we got a doctor's appointment, especially during these COVID times, because you can't bring babies anywhere. So there's a lot of moms that normally would have their baby with them and are comfortable feeding out in public aren't able to bring their babies. So a lot of moms now are trying to figure out how much milk do they need to have stored for baby to be able to hand baby over, rather it's a date night or, like I said, a doctor's appointment or whatever. So anywho, the new mom last night had asked me, she said, I thought it was 1.5 ounces per hour. She said, so I prepared for 4 hours. She said, and I gave Granny, enough milk to get through 4 hours, and baby chug-a-lugged it, just gone. And yes and no, that's right. So something to keep in mind, most babies are between 24 and 34 ounces in a day. My daughter, she was more around the 26 to 28 ounces a day. My son, he was between 30, he averaged 32 ounces a day. On a light day is 30, and on a heavy day it was 35. He was just a big eater. So when you normally nurse your baby, and then you have to prepare for baby going somewhere else, things to keep in mind. Let me think about where I want to start with this. Nipple size. Let's start there. Like I said before, baby is used to working very hard at getting milk from you. So when you introduce a bottle with nipples, you'll notice on each each nipple, there's sizes written on them. On those sizes, you'll notice on your labeling that, the packaging, it'll tell you the month of, however old your child is, for example, 3 to 6 months. A common recommendation is not to change the nipple size out of newborn if you are an exclusive nurser. Reason being is it's going to be much harder for baby to pull from a newborn nipple, and it's going to be closer to the real deal, as far as how much work and effort it takes to get the milk. So if you want your baby to remain and, used to working a little bit harder for it, keep that newborn size. Something else to consider, though, is if you're having someone else feed your baby, and you don't have the newborn size, baby is going to chug-a-lug that milk, because it's baby's like, oh wow, I'm not working for this at all. And just going to drink it so fast that they're not even going to realize what they're doing. As far as how fast they're taking it in. Something else to consider is pace feeding. Have you heard of it? Pace feeding is, I'm going to demonstrate with my hand. You're going to tilt, and you're going to keep baby at like a 45-degree angle. Don't lay baby flat. About 45-degree angle, I'd say, is good. Partially sitting up, and you're going to feed baby. And then you're going to pause. Feed baby. And then you're going to pause. Let it settle in their belly for a second so that they realize how much they're taking in. Like I said, offering a bottle to a nursed baby is like hitting the jackpot, because they don't have to work for it. So they get super excited about the milk coming in so quickly and not having to work for it. So, give them something to kind of work for. Like I said, give a little bit, pull it out. Give a little bit, pull it out. And then they even recommend, so far as switching arms that baby's on. Now we're going to give a little bit this way and pull it out. Give away a little bit this way and pull it out. This would be similar to when you're actually nursing, because you're going to switch baby side to side, right? You're going to let baby have the meal, and then you're going to offer dessert after the meal, right? So same concept with the bottle. So that is pace feeding. Like I said, watch your nipple size and pace feeding. Those are going to be important things when you're offering a bottle to a nurse-fed baby. That also goes the same for breast milk in general. Even if your baby is never nursed and, you're bottle feeding, that is definitely something you're going to want to do. Now, I will say that I did also pace feed my daughter who was on formula. And I did that simply because it was just like a natural thing. And maybe that's because I started out nursing and bottle feeding with her first. So then when I switched to formula and dropped the breast milk, maybe that's why it just stuck. But that's going to help baby, know if they're full or not. So you're definitely going to want to pace feed, and like I said, watch the nipple size. Something else to consider with the nipple size is your nipple will start to collapse, okay? It'll collapse if baby's sucking too hard. And what that means is that baby wants more of it faster. Think of like when you're sucking on a straw and your straw collapses, right? You're like, what in the world? What's clogging it? Your nipples are probably just clogged. So, to get your nice fine brushes and clean the nipple out. Also, it might be time to replace the nipples, get some new ones. It does recommend on packaging every 3 months or so. So, which is also about the size or about the time to size up if you choose to go that route. I personally chose to go that route, continue to size my son up and nipple sizes, and that was because he was exclusively on a bottle. I pumped. So I sized his nipples up, and I also felt that helped with transitioning better to a sippy cup because it was a faster flow. So all things to consider when you're deciding if you're going to move your baby's nipple size up on their bottle or not. Like I said, if you want your baby to stay exclusively nursing, except for those, odds and end times when you're going to go to the doctors or date night or whatever the case is, keep them on that newborn nipple. That way they got to work a little bit harder for it, and it's closer to the amount of work and milk flow that they would get from you. So that's what I have on that subject. Like I said before, roughly 24 to 34 ounces a day is what is the average child. So feel your baby out. Figure out what works for you guys. If it's your first time leaving baby, overestimate a little bit. If you're just doing one bottle, and you're only going to be gone 4 hours, maybe leave 6 ounces. I don't know. Until you guys get a feel, until you and baby get a feel for what baby wants and is actually taking, I would overplan if at all possible. For me, I would say it took me, I don't know, probably a week to really nail down what size bottle and how often my little guy liked to eat. Also, make a log of how often your baby eats. If your baby's exclusively nursed, and you discover that your baby's eating, every hour, or maybe your baby's eating every 2 hours, or maybe it's every 3 hours, then, you'll want to try to simulate that same thing for daycare and whatnot. Myself, like I said, I logged probably a week's worth of logging to properly plan for bottles and how often my son was eating before he started daycare. And then I planned for 1 extra bottle in case, because you just don't know. So that's my best recommendation as far as how much milk to pack, unless you really got a system nailed down. And honestly, until they're about 6 months old, the little buggers eat all the dang time. Once they get to be about 6 months old and you're offering in snacks and meals and, food, solid foods, then, they don't want the milk as much. But anywho, if you think of subjects you want me to cover, message me, comment, whatever the case is, we'll cover it. Hopefully you guys got a little something out of this. And tomorrow, I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to cover. So unless somebody has something specific that they'd like me to cover, I'm honestly considering covering the type of milk, colostrum versus regular milk, how long it takes to come in, things like that. So milk knowledge. So yeah. All right. We'll talk to you ladies later. Bye-bye.